Good morning and good evening and good afternoon, everybody. I think we have a wide range of different time zones here today in this 3.5 hour or half day course on advanced black oil PVT. I'm not Curtis Whitson, but I'm one of his colleagues, and I'm also here with Curtis. He's going to do most of the course today, and also my other colleague Kameshwar Singh will do a more advanced topic a little bit later for all of us, and we'll get back to that before we jump into the course content, of which all will be provided, both the recording of this course and the material will be provided after the class today. So a few meeting logistics before we start the actual technical discussions, I guess, and lecturing, is that we have more than 600 registered participants today, which we're very, very proud of and very happy that you all are taking the time to join us here today. And we're doing it through something called WebEx events. So if anybody has any issues with hearing the audio, writing questions, or anything like that, please send an email to info@whitson.com and we'll get back to you ASAP. By default, everybody will be muted because having 650 participants talking at the same time would be a challenge. But you can still ask questions in the Q&A and chat box that you find to the right of the WebEx menu. The course is around 3.5 hours, and everything will be recorded and made available to all the participants after the course. All the content will also be uploaded to our online learning platform, Whitson Academy, that can be accessed for those of you who subscribe to that at academy.whitson.com. And it's essentially just a collection of virtual courses that we have pre-recorded and also topical webinars that can be accessed on demand for different topics such as advanced black oil PVT. There's also how-to videos there or tutorials of how you deal with, for instance, uploading a black oil table into Eclipse or something similar. And a few of the example courses we have there is related to PVT and phase behavior, obviously, gas-based EOR and gas condensate reservoirs, which is typical topics that we work on a day-to-day basis in our consultancy work. Important to emphasize is that we want to cater all levels of I guess audience. So if you are a beginner, if you're an expert, or something in between, you should find something relevant for you there, and hopefully also in this course. There's two courses that will be arranged in the near future. The first one will come up already next month, where Curtis, Stian Midland, and myself will hold a 2-day course on gas-enhanced oil recovery in tight unconventionals. So that's related to shale and unconventional resources, and a lot about this gas huff and puff, which has really been one of the technologies that's been taking off over in the US. And then the month after, we'll hold one of the classical courses that I think Curtis have been holding probably the last 30, 40 years on advanced PVT and EOS fluid characterization, which is a 5-day course, and that will hold together with Bilal Yunus, which is also here with us in Trondheim, Norway. Over to the agenda today. We have a short introduction by myself before most of the meat, quote unquote, in the course will be given by Curtis. We'll have, because we're trying to cater a wide range of different time zones, we'll just have a very short break of 10 minutes within Curtis's chat there, and before he's doing the second part of his course. And then Singh will have a special topic which is around what PVT experiment to actually use when you're generating a black oil table, which is a very relevant question that we get a lot, and where there's really no good answer documented in the technical literature as of right now. In the end of the course, we'll also go through a black oil table exercise with all of you, where the main objective is to try to convey how a program or simulator would actually read and utilize a black oil PVT table, which is the main objective and topic of this particular course. For that exercise, just an info for that. So everybody should have gotten an email on how to access Witsen PVT, which is our flagship software product, and how to download a black oil table from there that we're going to use in the exercise today, and that we also will reference throughout this lecture today. If you have not received any info, because maybe it's going into your junk folder, or our system recognize your email as invalid, please just send an email ASAP to info@witsen.com right here, and we'll get back to you ASAP with the necessary info for doing that. It's really just a few steps to do that, and we'll have a lot of fun doing that exercise all together. Very good. So now over to the course kind of introduction, and today we're going to discuss advanced black oil PVT in general, and I've been stealing this slide from Knut Uleberg at Statoil, and he's giving me, or I'm allowed to do so, he says, and the course summary and everything we're going to discuss today is around this concept that 1 cubic meter is not always equal to 1 cubic meter, and you know, here we could use whatever unit. It could be a barrel. It's not always equal to a barrel, and if you understand this concept as a key takeaway from this course, we've at least managed to communicate something essential related to PVT. A good example of that is just to look at you know, that for instance 1 reservoir cubic meter and a separator cubic meter and a stock tank cubic meter of oil, for instance, is in terms of volumetrics the same, but in terms of value definitely not the same in what it contains compositionally. And many times the value of these different entities is related to actually what we get paid at surface, and we'll touch more upon this later in the course as well. The first learning that is very, very important to emphasize, and that's also why we touch on that very early, is that black oil tables, even though we use the word, call it, you know, black oil here, it can actually be used for all reservoir fluid systems, where, you know, a black oil fluid system is kind of like a subcategory of reservoir fluid classification. But in general, a black oil table, a modified black oil table, as we'll talk much about in this course, can be used for every single reservoir that we're trying to model from a primary depletion perspective, at least. So it's not only used for black oil systems, and these type of generalized black oil tables is many times referred to as modified black oil tables, and we'll get back to that. Black oil tables is probably one of the main ways that we can describe or PVT in general for a wide range of different pressures, I guess compositions at a constant temperature. And PVT is one of these very few things actually in the petroleum domain that essentially has an impact on a wide range, or if not every single discipline in the petroleum domain. What we mean by that is that PVT is required for reservoir simulation work, is required for well testing, RTA and PTA type of work, pipe flow calculations, process and facility design, reserves calculations, even seismic and drilling needs PVT as input, at least from a simulation perspective. So it touches upon a wide range of different disciplines, and that's also something I think we see by looking at the wide range of participants in this course and their different backgrounds. So hopefully there should be some key takeaways for all of you here today. And when we like to, at least internally here at Whitsun, like to talk about PBT, we like to say that PBT is a function of pressure, temperature, and this X here is referring to composition. And to really understand PBT, we need to understand this multi, almost dimensional space that we many times, at least in a black oil PBT sense, are simplifying into a pressure, temperature, and GOR space that we'll touch more on a little bit later in the introduction. So in this short introduction that I'll go through, hopefully it will not take that much time before I give it over to Curtis. We'll touch upon 4 different topics, and the reason why we do this is just to make sure that as many of you are on the same page as possible before we dig into some of the more advanced concepts related to black oil PBT and black oil PBT tables. The first one is a short introduction to black oil PBT tables in general, what's required actually to create one, what does it actually entail, etc. We'll try to use black oil PBT and kind of tie it together with the reservoir fluid classification, at least on a rule of thumb basis. We'll discuss a little bit this 3-dimensional space that we just introduced, the pressure, temperature, and composition space, and see a little bit different ways we like to plot and visualize that. Many of us is very familiar with PT diagrams, so-called phase envelopes, but as we'll see, for understanding black oil PBT and a little bit, at least in my mind, PBT in general, it's more intuitive, at least for petroleum engineers, to think in this pressure composition or pressure GOR space that we'll get back to. And Singh will also have a comprehensive discussion on what depletion experiment to actually use when you create a black oil table with an equation of state. And to have a little bit better background for that, we'll very quickly go through some animations of the relevant depletion experiments that is required. At least we have to pick one to use when we create a black oil table.